What's up everybody, Tom here with another video, and in today's video we'll be taking a look together at the week ahead for the markets around the world, including the S&P 500, Nasdaq, Bitcoin and crypto markets, Tesla, gold, commodities and more. There's been a lot of moves throughout all markets over the last couple of weeks. In particular, we've seen a crash in the crypto markets. What's in store for that next? We'll try to answer it, and we're going into one of the strongest periods of time often that the market sees. But not all is so well. Of course, the largest stocks are the ones that are moving, but everything else seems to be going down. Stay tuned to find out more about what that means. Alright guys, well let's get started with the video, and first off we'll start talking about the stock market here. So traditionally the back end of November is very strong. We have Thanksgiving in the US, and there are a few stats that really play out there. Since the 1950s, the last 5 trading days of November have actually traditionally been positive. And remember, we've just seen a new all-time peak being reached on the Nasdaq, that is the QQQ. We've also seen many different stats through the years, but generally there is a 2/3 likelihood that the market will go up on the day before Thanksgiving, and a 57% likelihood that the market will go up on the day after Thanksgiving. Also, big stats here, 71% likelihood that it's up on a Monday. So basically what that's telling us is, in general, yes, you should be an optimist coming into Thanksgiving week. It's not always, but generally it is. And we have seen breakouts across the board. But this heat map will show us where the problems lie. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see this sheet and say, wow, there's something wrong in the markets. Look at this, financials all down. All these stocks over here, the energy stocks, so much red. And where is the green? Just the largest stocks. The semiconductors with Nvidia really being standout. We saw one of our favorites, Apple, do really well last week. Tesla rebounded. Amazon's done well, 4.29%. And in general, it's been a very bullish part of the market over here. Now, the problem with this is that the market tends to move into Nasdaq stocks as a form of like cash holdings. In many ways, if they think there's going to be lockdowns in the COVID style or post-COVID style environment, we've seen that, or even big news coming out. One of the biggest bits of news coming out will be Biden's new pick for the Fed chairman. Will it be Jerome? Will it be somebody else? We'll find that out, and that could actually shock markets. And a lot of people don't realize how and why it will. Well, in general, if you have a Fed chairman that is, let's say, bullish on the market, they will do everything in their power to really kind of strengthen the market over time. If you have somebody that's a little bit more like, okay, let's make sure that we taper back our spending, taper back our money that we're flooding into the market, then all of a sudden the stocks could crash or at least fall a little bit correctively. So there is a big deal here. I doubt that Biden's going to pick anything different, but in terms of what we're going to see, this could be one of the biggest stories of the week. There's some other news we'll go throughout this video. Though in general, last week was all about the Nasdaq, 2.31%, led by those big companies, mostly the top 10 kind of ones. S&P 500, 0.32%. Dow Jones actually down on the week, 1.38%. And IWM, one of our favorites at the moment, which has pulled back to a nice zone, negative 2.83%. So actually having a pretty poor week on the sessions. In the sectors, it's all about semiconductors, consumer discretionary, and technology. It's very clear they were the standouts for the entire week. And energy, gold, financial, some of the things that did well the week before were lackluster, and to say the least. Earnings, we still are in earnings season, so just quickly, we have Zoom after the close, one of the big ones that's coming through for this week ahead. We also have John Deere before the open. That's had a pretty good technical we've looked at on for a while. Obviously, the collective bargaining thing with the standoff has been not so good for John Deere, but the technicals are looking better. Will they get a good result? We'll have to find out soon. Fear and Greed Index, everybody should always be watching these types of things. We're at a 69, so we're in basically greed. We're not extreme greed like we were a few weeks ago, where we're at 83. But when we scroll down here, I think the biggest thing that most people should be watching is put call options and, in general, market breadth. So when you're thinking about it, how many stocks are actually going up together? How strong is the overall market? And this is very, very important, because if we only have a few stocks moving up, it may really show us that we're not in a great economy at this stage, and that can lead to longer lasting problems in the stock market indices. As you'll notice, we had an S&P 500 down on the Friday session, yet the US 100 was up 0.5%. So it's a big discrepancy here, and take of that what you will. I'm going to say at this stage, I'm not too concerned, but it's definitely something we should be watching. Let's take a look at the volatility index here. And I think the market is paying attention to a degree because the VIX index, the fear index here is 17.9. And that's actually quite a high reading. Remember, the VIX index tends to go up when there's fear in the market. Has the market really dropped? No. Yet the VIX is well off its 15 base down here, and it's actually creeping up towards that 20. So clearly this new Fed chairman potential, or just the fact that the market's not really acting necessarily super bullish across the board, is increasing the fear in the market. And if that gets above 20, it'll be something that we want to be watching, because at that stage, if it's above 20 and the market hasn't fallen, surely something is about to happen. Let's take a look at the DXY. This is often considered one of the biggest hedges in the world against uncertainty. It's really been very, very strong here. We'll all go through quickly together something we've been covering for months here on the channel, and that is the giant double bottom. It can take a little while for these patterns to get heated up, and you'll notice it closed above, consolidated, and it's been really on a massive tear. This area here, this 96 area, was acting as a pretty good resistance. We go down to the daily, you'll notice it's really put a new all-time high breakout, or not all-time high, but recent all-time high breakout over here above the 96. And this is pointing towards, you would think, further bullish strength in the next week to 2 weeks for dollar index. And that's a big deal when we consider gold and silver in just a moment. Strong dollar can put weakness on other pairs, and it could also signal that maybe the market's anticipating this idea that we're going to get an interest rate rise earlier than expected. Let's move over to gold. Gold was bit disappointing, you'd have to think. We had that false breakout in the small time frames, weren't able to get past 1870. This becomes a huge level for gold moving forward. That 1870 closure breakout should bring participation to the next zone. We knew this 1870 was a resistance. We're now pulling back. Will we get to the best area? And the best area is going to be around this 1832. So at the moment, it's kind of like falling knife. But if it gets down to this red box zone, for many people that missed out on some of the rallies and some of the nice participation zones so far in gold, they may be looking at this level, looking at the daily 20 moving average, this red line here, and saying, I'm interested in that zone. And then they might be applying their own systems, etc. And there are reasons why. We've seen rallies come in the December period for gold. November to December 2020, you can see what happened. We go back to the previous year, November into December 19, huge movement there. We've got November into December 18, huge movement there, and 17, etc., etc. So we've had some great seasonals on gold, and while it looks a little bit kind of on the nose, people don't like this so much at the moment because it fell off, we're about to come down to a very significant area, and that will be what I think many traders will watch throughout the next week. Silver's very similar. If we take a look at the weekly close, look, it's not exciting, it's not cool. It might drop even a little bit further, like gold, come back down to this 2050. This is the red line and the blue line here, moving average on the weekly. Hopefully we get some buying pressure. And what we're looking for here is turnaround stories. The lightning bolt, we're looking for the double bottom style pattern. We're looking for the channel, any of the things that you guys have regularly seen us cover in the live sessions and on the videos. And if you haven't subscribed, definitely consider doing so if you're interested in finding out more about that type of stuff, because turning around and finding the turnaround story on the smaller timeframes is one of the biggest keys to success in being able to be a good trader, good investor, good everything. If you can recognize a change of trend, then you can often do quite well. Speaking of change of trends, potentially Tesla's on that. Tesla's just gone from a big rally, 1250 almost, all the way back down to 1,000, bounced off the 1,000. We talked about this zone being a base of options, so we saw a lot of options sitting around here, and that really was one of the signs that we had some strength that could come off that. We've seen that strength, we've seen the coil. Friday, you were rewarded if you day traded this. You saw that huge movement through 1,100, bam, straight through it after the coil. Great day trade, congrats people. And now we've moved up. Maybe we come back and retest here, but it looks like we could be set for Tesla to actually go and test these previous highs through the next couple of weeks of trading. And if it does do that, well, there could be trades in there could be participation, and the double bottom certainly seems in play. What do you guys think about Tesla right now? Is it going to go make new all-time highs by the end of the year? I know you guys love it here in the channel, so we do definitely love it. I'm just wondering whether we'll get a new all-time high. Let us know in the comments down below. It's certainly looking strong on the price action on the smaller timeframes at this stage. Move over to Apple, another one of our favorites. Look at this weekly. All-time high, thanks to the rumors of the new Apple car concept. I think it's a big deal long-term for Apple with the Apple car. I like Apple a lot. I think it's a really great stock to have. And it's one of those ones that often, people like Buffett have it, and a lot of people have it because it's quality. I mean, the phone is an integral part of many people's lives. And imagine if they were able to do that to a new market. That's been my main problem with Apple. They haven't really, I believe they've reiterated stuff and improved it. We haven't seen a new market segment, so other than the CarPlay. So maybe we will get a new car, and that would be cool. Big movement from this, 3 big bullish green days. We saw it where it broke through here. 150 was always a big problem for Apple. It closed above. You can see the weakness followed by the strength, followed by the slingshot power through. This is the repricing, and we talked about that 165 strike, and it looks like it's almost inevitable for Apple to give that a go. And we always said, one of the other things we said as a community together was that we were very surprised that people were considering how great Apple had been, because Apple did reprice after the pandemic. We know it went up heavily, but if you'd invested the wrong points over the last year, you may have not been up that much, like 5 to 8%. Now we're getting some of the rewards. And another stock that's been doing that is Amazon. Amazon has been lackluster. If you invested back in September of 2020, it was 3,535. It's now trading at 3,681. So it's not up very much at all as a percentage there, but it has had a nice big breakout. And we look at this on a weekly, it's clearly breaking out. It's tested that previous high over here. So you can see it's really come up and said, what about this 37.66? Found a bit of resistance on the Friday trade, but I would love to see this thing pop and get up to that 4,000, possibly even higher than 4,000 target, because Amazon's got a lot going for it. It's obviously broken the downtrend. We've seen it on the weekly strengthening now week on week on week, and many people were rewarded last week from owning it, and hopefully it will continue to show some strength. Potential here is maybe pull back to the 3,600, find some resistance that acts as support, maybe the daily 20s there as well. That'd be fantastic. And if we breach this zone, I think a lot of participation will come into the market, and suddenly everyone will be talking about Amazon. I find not many people have talked about it through this bullish component. Maybe you've heard everyone talking about it. I haven't though in the stream. So this has been a great breakout and fantastic stuff. Why is the market going up? Well, the answer is things like the FANG. I mean, maybe not the Netflix component. We should replace that with NVIDIA. But the FANG, these large stocks, look at them, new all-time highs. This is really the strong breakouts, those top 10 tech stocks that we saw before, the semiconductors. The strength is just here across the board. And this is not good for market health. We talked about it before. This is great if you're in those stocks. Fantastic. But when this has happened, we've seen these lead, the rest of the market actually go down, and then we've had that turnaround story of the rest of the market recovering and doing better. And that could be where the story is. Maybe if you're in these right now, it's going to be a good little run into Christmas, possibly, good couple of weeks here. And then we might have a good rotation into the other stocks, so a sector rotation. I think that's something that a lot of people don't do enough, is think about the sector rotation in markets and take advantage of the money movement from Wall Street across the board. And we'd like to try to cover that as much as we can on this channel. Another thing that's huge is QQQ. I mean, this is broken out of our beautiful upward channel. I'm a little sad to say goodbye to the channel because we're going to have to take this off our charts soon. You'll notice we've used this for a long time to predict the peaks of markets. At this stage, it's hard to say that we think that the market will actually go down based on what we're seeing in the QQQ. It's broken out. A lot of people will now look to the previous kind of pullbacks here as a sign of strength, and they'll be looking for actual further pickups. And we've detailed a few times here that we thought the market should be able to get back to the daily 20. And of course, it will eventually get back to the daily 20. It always will. This red line here. I have a feeling that if we continue to rally through this November to December period, let's just say that happens, that when we hit January or February, we're going to see actually a nice correction, because the more something kind of goes, let's say, bubblicious away from the moving averages and the weekly and all these things, the harder it tends to fall straight back down to that level. And I think that's really shown through stocks like Tesla. When it corrects after a very nice period of movement, it can often correct 20-30% very easily. And even Bitcoin, look what happens, goes on massive runs and then it corrects heavily. So the Nasdaq's kind of on that roller coaster to the moon right now, new all-time highs. Congrats there. Current price action looks really strong. We'll keep covering it for you guys to find out whether we can see any weakness, but at this stage still looks like strength. IWM, this is the Russell 2000. Could be some opportunity here. We're back down around the area that we've got boxed. So we've boxed the top up here and we've boxed the support down here. And this is the zone that we were hoping for a turnaround story. So basically hoping for the market to create lightning bolts, to create double bottoms in here, to create a whole bunch of stuff. And I know a lot of people like that daily 20. We've often said that 50 could happen. Remember, the market across the board is not going up. So the Russell 2000, the smaller 2000 cap companies, they're not looking as healthy just yet. But when we see the money float around, often this will be the one that really performs. And since it's broken out of our giant channel, there's that real performance increase that could happen here where the upside is starting to look pretty tasty. I mean, we've taken the A, which is the channel, and this is the B. We knew it would probably pull back. It's still in seasonal strength into November, December, into Jan, and we could get a really nice run here. So we're hoping for a turnaround. We're looking for the lightning bolt. Keep following the channel if we can find those technical indicators. The S&P 500 is a totally different story to the QQQ, the FANG, these types of ones. It keeps finding problem resistance. And this gives me some hope for the bear side, because when you're taking a look at this S&P 500, look at this. I mean, it's a whole bunch of resistance. We have a monthly R1, which is this dotted green line. That's the pivot. We've got rejection, rejection, rejection. We do not have bullish close. We get a bullish close above this. Okay, cool. Let's start some further extra strength, probably a Santa rally, all sorts of things. But if we do reverse here, I mean, many people are speculating a double top here and the potential for actually a further correction back down to like a 4,500 area. I think a lot's going to come down to the news and, of course, the Fed chairman selection. So it's clearly waiting for that bit of news, and you can tell based on this resistance. That's where we're at. Bitcoin, another market that's looking really big. We'll take a look at the news for the week ahead in a second as well. But Bitcoin has done almost the perfect thing. We speculated 55, 54K, best case 452 from the bear side. It fell through that previous support. We saw a massive, massive dump across the board on all the crypto coins. And really now we've had that little bit of a pull up. So I'm happy with this pull down. I think that's pretty sufficient. We have that A move. We've got that B move. Do we now move the C move? So here's the C move. This is for the end of the year. Do we get towards that 80,000 on Bitcoin? I would love to see your prediction down below in the comment section, because boy, oh boy, has this been pretty damn good. Got some great rally points. We've now dropped just enough percentage. So remember, any good pullback of around 20%-ish usually can begin the next rally. That's the way the market goes in crypto. Nice rally, big dump over 20%. Every time. Nice rally, big dump, nice rally, big dump. And then it does that all the time. It has pilled up. So let's now take a look at the daily time frame. Have a look at that one. Okay, so the daily's improving for sure. Then we look at the 4-hour. And I think this area that we detailed last week, this 61.5, is still the really big bull case scenario. So we've seen the first stage of some recovery. Bit of a pull up, bit of a pull down, bit of a pull up. Not quite a great lightning bolt, but certainly a good start. This area here was a lot of short sellers. We also know this was the previous support around this area, around this 50, what is this price? About 58, 59. So we've come back up to that zone. We've found a little bit of sell-off. We've gone a little higher. If we do sell off here and get back under 57.5, I think we'll hit a new low. We'll go back into this zone. But if you're looking for that bullish pressure this week, I'd be looking around the 61.5. I hope that once it gets through there, there's that potential for us to go towards 80,000. I don't even think it'll stop at the other peaks. It might temporarily, but we could be looking at a very, very nice pull up. So Bitcoin's looking strong there. Even the BTC shorts is not increasing. So this is showing us that the whales have lost commitment again on shorting Bitcoin, and they're starting to possibly pile back into it. So that's something to watch. In terms of the biggest news for the week ahead, guys, I'm telling you what, there is a decent amount of news here. We got the FOMC meeting minutes, 2 p.m. on Wednesday. We've got the prelim GDP figures, the core PCE price index. This is all New York time, by the way. And then that's the main bits of news other than the new Fed chairman. So there is a bit of earnings still. We've got the Fed chairman discussion and just anything else that comes at us. News-wise, it seems to be stacked onto that Wednesday as much as possible, and we'll find out what happens. Thanksgiving week, statistically good and bullish in general, but there sometimes is that little bit of weakness on that Tuesday period. Wednesday tends to be pretty good. Thursday obviously closed, and Friday, that half day, tends to be good. Good luck, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to subscribe. Smash that like button. It does help us out so much. And a big thank you as well, coming into Thanksgiving and the end of the year, for everyone that supported the channel. We smashed 70K, and now we put our sights in front of 80 because you guys are the best community out there. Catch up.